Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Travel Bias. If you're planning a trip to Istanbul or anywhere in Turkey, this video is your ultimate guide. So in this video, I'll be sharing my full itinerary, what worked, what didn't, and honestly, what I would skip if I do it again. So watch it till the end because this will save you time, money, and a lot of confusion. Okay, so there are two ways you plan your Turkey trip. First is either you go through a tour company or DIY, do it yourself, start and plan everything. Now let's get into the first one quickly. Let's break it down a bit more. If you're going through a tour company, don't just book and go. That's where most of the people mess up. Here's what you need to check. Full itinerary. Not all the tours cover the same places, so be very careful about that. Sometimes you want to go some places and that's not part of the itinerary. So check the itinerary completely. Now, number two, hotels. I am very picky and fussy about hotels, so it's very important that you check what hotels they book. Sometimes people are not very fussy about it. You can actually save a lot of money by go downgrading your hotels. And number three, meals. Make sure your breakfast is included. It's non-negotiable, and some even include a lot of lunch and dinner. So check that. Number three, hidden cost or optional add-ons. Personally, I feel that that should have been mentioned in bold words, but they don't. So read it very carefully before you sign up for anything because eventually you end up spending more when you go there. Personally, I've had great experience with some of the tour companies like Trafalgar. I personally did Egypt, Turkey, Italy with them. But also check out Travel Marvel for luxury tours. Or if you're going for a local company, then On the Go is one of the famous in Turkey for specific Turkey trips. Now, if you're planning a trip by yourselves, this is my option number two. It's a DIY tip. This is my favorite. So, how do you plan a trip? What I do is very simple. I literally go open a Google map and zoom into Turkey map and map everything out. Here's a tip. Go to any of these travel companies' website, cut paste their map and get it right in front of you. So you can literally copy the itinerary from any of the tour companies. They've already done the hard work, just tweak it to your style. How to structure your trip is main important thing. Turkey is big and there are two types of experience, historic and scenic. If you're short on time, pick one. But my route includes everything. So I'm going to keep going with each and every route which I took and suggest you what you should do and what you should skip. So here's the first one, Istanbul. We did almost 3 days in Istanbul, and Istanbul 3 days is a must do because there's so much to do over there. There's mosque, there's bazaar, there's food vibes. You need at least 3 days here. So Istanbul has to be start and end of your every trip. Now, number two, from there we went to Kanakale and Gallipoli. Now, Gallipoli was on the way. If you're into history, visit Gallipoli. But honestly, if you're not emotionally connected to that, I would skip it. For me, it was 4 out of 10 because for me, it did not connect me so much and there was not much to do. Then from there, we went headed to Troy. We did stay in Kanakale for one night, but then we headed to Troy. Now, Troy is completely history. Again, Troy is iconic, but only if you love history. If you're into architecture or something that you wanna like discovery and all, then that's your place to go. But if you're not, I would say skip it. Not something you would wanna do. Then we headed to Izmir and Ephesus. We stayed there about 2 nights. Now, Izmir and Ephesus was worth it for me at least. Now, because Izmir and Ephesus had beautiful ruins, amphitheaters, and this is history done right for me. So we stayed there 2 nights because we had to do Ephesus, where Mother Mary's house was also there, and there was ruins as well that we saw, and amphitheater. There's a lot to see over there, and that's why we spent 2 nights there. Then we headed to Pamukkale. Now, I would say head to Pamukkale only if it's on your way because Pamukkale is stunning. Those white thermal pools you see everywhere is what Pamukkale is. But actually, it is a small town which is located there. Not much to do. The only popularity of that town is those thermal pool, which is all over the internet. If you're not interested in those, then maybe skip it. I would only do Pamukkale if it's on the way. I would not specifically go there. So we stayed there one night. One night is max what you want to do. Then we headed to Antalya and we stayed in Antalya for 2 days. Here. So from Antalya, when you head from Antalya, is actually a place where you can go directly. If you want to skip all the history part, I would skip everything, and from Istanbul, I would directly go to Antalya because Antalya is all about slowing down, no major history, just vibes, old town, the gorgeous Mediterranean Sea, mountain and sea together, insane views, and some cruise trips, and absolutely worth it. It was just beautiful. So for me, Antalya was like my love. I just loved it after Istanbul. So a 2 night is a good time to spend over there. And I would start my trip from there if you would wanna, if you are short on time. Next, we headed was Konya. Konya, we stayed for 1 night, and it was more like a meaningful stop. Now, Konya is actually a very, what do you call, mining state, not a very tourist state, but this is where Rumi lived. It's not flashy, but it's deep, meaningful, and honestly worth it. But just 1 night is enough because you're only going to spend there to visit Rumi's house and his history. Other than that, there's not much you can do in Konya. Then I would say head to Cappadocia. On the way, visit that famous amphitheater and then head to Cappadocia. We stayed in Cappadocia for 2 nights, but I would recommend to be there for 3 nights. Cappadocia has so much to offer. I can say this was the highlight of the trip. Like Gom, fairy chimney, cave hotels, unreal sunrises, and of course the hot air balloon. That's one full morning gone, so plan for it. And that's why Cappadocia honestly doesn't feel real. It's that beautiful. So, and that is the reason I'm asking you to stay longer days over there. Then we headed to Ankara. Again, if you want to skip Ankara, you can skip, but the drive from Cappadocia to Istanbul was long. So if you're driving, then Ankara is a good stopover because Ankara is actually a capital city of uh, Turkey. So if you are driving, then maybe a stopover. But if you're not driving, you can skip it only because Ankara is all about history. It's not very exciting for tourists. So if you're not into it, do not bother going there. And I would fly directly back to Istanbul. Now, quick route if you are short on time, if you're tight on days, do this Pamukkale, Antalya, Konya, Cappadocia, and Istanbul. These are your cities that you need to visit and skip rest. But if you have time, do everything. I did and I don't regret it. Now let's go on tips. Here are some tips for the trip. Best time to visit. I went in December and honestly, big mistake. Cappadocia was freezing. We were on minus 11 degree. Hot balloon was cancelled. Travel got messy, so not the best time to go. But the best time I would say is October to November, perfect weather, or late Jan to Feb if you can handle cold. Avoid peak winter if you want the full experience. Number two, real travel trips. So we taxi scams. These scams are real. When I landed in Istanbul, we almost got overcharged, and hence I recommended use Uber. Download your Uber app. It works over there. Use that so that no one's scamming you. Do not take a taxi from the road because they will cheat you. I've spoken so much about it in my vlog. If you want to know what happened, watch my vlog. Number two, food strategy. Turkey food is just amazing, and so many places I've recommended in my vlogs if you want to go and see. But my always go to strategy is I make sure the breakfast is included. I have a very light lunch, which is on the way, and I have proper dinner. This is my go to tip for my travels. You save money and keep you sorted. Number three, shopping smart. Everyone talks about Grand Bazaar, but honestly, it's expensive, it's overpriced, and it's not worth paying that much. I would say better shopping is in Cappadocia. They have better things to do and better prices and better variety. But if even if you ended up going to Istanbul to Grand Bazaar, I would say bargain hard. If they ask for 100, ask them 30 and then settle in 50. Now, things that are Turkey famous for, and you should buy it from there because you get the best possible quality, are carpet, leather, spices, and tea and coffee. Make sure leather is genuine quality and you're not being cheated. Same with carpet, make sure they're hand woven so you're not being cheated. Other than that, if you want to buy spices and tea coffee from Grand Bazaar, they're not too expensive there. You can buy it from there. My favorite tea coffee was apple and strawberry. They were my favorite. I even bought them home. Number four, money tips. You can carry Turkish lira, USD, even AUD. They accept all. But always check pricing, quality before buying anything. So, that's my full Turkey breakdown from itinerary to mistakes to real trips. If you're planning your trip, this should make your life much easier. I'll be sharing hotel recommendations in my next vlog, so stay tuned. If this helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Travel Bias. See you in the next one.